You know I can't talk now, so I'm just going to call out the filmmakers, Luke Boyce and Michael Morisi. We already introduced Luke. Michael, I am so sorry. I didn't read your whole thing, but you're going to get a chance to say everything. May we present you with a golden thumb? I have yours.
I would be thrilled. Thank you. Thank you, Nate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is all I've ever wanted in my life right here. Thank you.
Nate and I are going to, is there someone else?
Yeah, that's it.
Me, the four of us, okay.
Yep.
Musical chairs. I'm serious, someone else has to go first.
Okay. Yeah, this was a long time coming.
It
right?
was.
How did you manage to actually figure out what to do with it? Because it went through so many iterations.
Yes. So a little backstory. So the movie was originally Nate's idea. As I said, we've been making the retrospectives here since 2011, and in 2013, the one that we made that year that Roger passed away, we won an Emmy Award, and it was a special film. Nate had asked us to get many more camera people here to capture the festival, and so the idea was, let's see if we can make a feature film out of Ebertfest. And it sounded like a brilliant idea because we had all this tons of footage, and we had been digitizing all of the archival footage since the beginning of the festival. And we had all that, and we put something together, and it was kind of like a 90-minute commercial, and it didn't quite work. So we scrapped it, and we were like, well, but there's still something here. That the archive footage is so good, and there's no, just Roger introducing the films and how special this festival is. Let's figure out what else we can do with it. And Nate and I originally started talking about just, Roger's writing specifically, Roger as a film critic and his philosophy on movies and how unique that was and how personal it was. And so it was really kind of a journey to figure out how can we draw that out. And the idea came, I think is it Alex Gibney that did the Sinatra doc on HBO? I loved how he used this final Frank Sinatra concert as a framework for telling Frank Sinatra's life. And I thought, oh, what about using Ebertfest as a structure, like making a Ebertfest greatest hits, essentially, and letting Roger introduce the films and do a Q&A of the films, like let people see that, and then let them hear Roger talk about the movies, which we can talk about that in a minute, but that was its own thing to figure out. And then I brought Michael Morisi, who helped me wrote my feature debut, to kind of help kind of hone that structure even more over time. And so we've been doing this since 2013, basically.
And Michael, tell us about your involvement with the film.
Certainly, yes. Like Luke said, I joined the project, I think roughly 4 years ago, and it felt simple to me because I felt the ideas were all there. I've attended Ebertfest before as well, and they were just waiting to get out because the film that I saw that Luke showed to me was a wonderful film. And but he said, where do we go with this? Because he said he felt like it was, the commercial for Ebertfest. And I said, well, my thinking was that we have this wonderful portrait of everyone celebrating. So the idea is a simple tweak of let's focus on what they are celebrating. And what we are celebrating, what we come here for, is for Roger, and for Roger's ideas and his warmth and his humanity and his genius and his love and all of these things that bring us here. That's why we're here and why we've come here so many, many times. And the tweak I felt was I don't feel like it was a lot of heavy lifting. It was all there just waiting to be formed a little bit more. And I think collaborating with Luke, I think we talked a lot about this, a lot about Roger, and it started to form, and we were able to make that little adjustment, and I think that's what we have here. And yeah, I get emotional thinking about it. I get emotional thinking about it, watching it. Emotional holding this thumb. I mean, I grew up on Roger, so I can't even. Luke was bold enough to put it on the floor next to him. I'm just gonna sleep with it. No, my leg will go numb, and I'll live with it. It's fine.
It's interesting. I met the scene with Roger up at the podium talking through his Apple voice. Roger, well, tell him about how you got. Roger, if the technology were available today and Roger were still with us, he would sound just like himself, right?
Yeah, and I think there was a special. You guys did a thing. It was a CBS This Morning or one of those shows that you unveiled a Roger voice, and it was very early Roger voice.
It was a company in Scotland who made an early version of his voice, and they were bought by another company, and now with AI, tell us about what you did with this movie.
Yeah. So to be clear, there's no generative AI used in this film. And then that as a topic, we don't have to necessarily get into that topic, but I have I don't love it particularly as an artist. But there was a tool that I discovered because we're trying to figure out. We knew right away that we wanted to hear Roger say these things. His writing is so powerful, and I thought, what if Roger is just speaking these words? And so we had different ideas of what we could do. And then very, very recently, there was a tool in the software I used to edit is called DaVinci Resolve, and you can feed it audio. And it takes a long time because it's all local. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not an AI. It's not ChatGPT or anything. It's a local on your machine that creates a model of his voice. And so I fed it all of Roger's commentaries. And then you go in and you can take a performance, you can take something and change the voice. And I did that, and it sounded terrible. It was awful. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work, and I don't know how this film's going to work in that way. And what I discovered was that the way this tool works is that it needs a performance. Every single nuance of a performance it takes. So if you breathe weird, if you say a word a certain way, it takes that. And so I spent many, many hours just studying how Roger talked and his inflection, and it wasn't too hard because we both were born in Urbana, so I mean, we kind of have the same dialect, and really it just took, I have hours and hours and hours of failed takes of trying to emulate the way he spoke. And so everything you hear of Roger talking during the movies and stuff, that is me then basically using a voice model to change it into his tone, his, whatever you want to call it.
So how many hours did you spend speaking into this tool in order to make his voice?
I don't even know, because it would be like, when you're listening, you hear Roger all the time here. So it's like, that voice has to live next to when we hear him, right? Like he's in Siskel and Ebert and whatever, and The 11th Hour and all these other things. I mean, it has to feel like that's a natural thing. And so it just, if one little thing went wrong, I would do it again, and I would do it again. And fortunately, once you have the model, it's not hard to change that voice, but it just, I can even hear myself in a lot of cases here where it's like, oh, that's me. It couldn't get everything, so.
Well, I think we all thought it was just Roger, so thank you for that.
Yes. But the thing, The thing that it showed me was how powerful Roger's prose is, how powerful his writing is, to hear it actually spoken out loud.
Well, and I will even add, the thing that actually shocked me was, and I'm admittedly I'm a little more critical because it's my voice, but when I listened to me saying it, I thought it sounded awful. I was like, this is, but then as soon as you hear Roger saying it, it transforms, and it's like, we talk about his writing all the time, and it is brilliant, but his voice, I think, is also special. Hearing it over and over, in Siskel and Ebert, I think we take for granted the fact that it was a very calming, invitational tone. Like, I could listen to him speak forever. I mean, it just, and even in the Q&As and the introductions here, I think that's a big part of what made it so special, was we kind of want to, it's very comforting to listen to Roger.
Yeah, every Friday when RogerEbert.com puts out our movie reviews, there's still always at least one movie where I ask, or I wish that I could ask Roger, what did he think of this? This movie has the poetry of his writing. He had a certain cadence. His writing was brilliant. I loved reading his books, his movie books as well as his non-movie books. And I saw, of course, a cut of this to choose it for the festival, but my God, you guys have really worked on it and made it so much better. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That means everything, Chaz. It truly does. And just so everyone's aware, that the other thing to that point is that everything you hear Roger say in this film is from his writing. We took it verbatim. What we did is we would take, so Tree of Life, for instance, was a really important film for me to take because he wrote about it so many times. So Roger wrote about it coming out of Cannes, when it premiered at Cannes. He wrote a blog post, and then he wrote a formal review, and then he wrote another blog post about it, just because it moved him so much. And this was pretty close towards the end of his life, and it was I remember reading it when it came out, and it moved me just as much as the film did. His writing on it, that was really, for me, I knew, there were two films I knew had to be in this film. 2001 and Tree of Life, because 2001 being kind of formative in his career. It was, one of the first films he championed, one of the only people who championed that film right from the get-go. And then Tree of Life, and it just turns out, which was one of his last reviews, and it turns out that he references 2001 in Tree of Life. And it was really cool because it was like, when you read his writing, like in the film when he says, and listen to this acute exchange between Jack for the Tree of Life. He says that in the review. He says, listen to. It's the way that Roger's talking. So we didn't change anything in terms of Roger. We wanted to make sure it was completely and utterly authentic to Roger. So
The thing I think that impressed him most about Tree of Life was the fact that it looked like it was shot in Urbana, Illinois in 1957.
it does, yeah.
Roger said that it was the film that was the closest to his life, and he wrote about it, like you said, so beautifully that when Roger passed away, Terrence Malick was going to be in Chicago and asked if he could visit with me. And I was going to be out of town, so I had to say no, but he also loved Roger's writing, not just about the Tree of Life, but about his other films as well.
Yeah, there's two reviews that I have nearly memorized. I grew up in Chicago. I grew up watching and reading Roger, and I can confidently say I probably couldn't get it verbatim right now, but his review of Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia, and Tree of Life, I have nearly memorized.
We have to go to the audience. I
Yes.
see my timekeeper is jumping up saying it's time to go.
Yeah.
Time to go to the audience.
And we'll just have time to take a couple questions because we'd really like to get back on schedule or close to it.
Why don't you choose someone, Nate? Do you see? Who has the microphone? Where's the microphone?
House right?
Uh,
Where are you?
House right.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
This is actually a question for Chaz. I was just wondering, you know, my wife is here and we don't agree on every movie. Are there any movies that you and Roger disagreed about?
Yes, my favorite movie, A Clockwork Orange.
That's right.
There are a few others, but that's the biggest disagreement we ever had about a movie.
Question from the balcony to your right, all the way up here.
Let me just say that I'm delighted to be here. Beyond that, I'm delighted to have this brochure. And if there were any way at all that I could get Chaz Ebert's signature on this, I would be truly delighted.
That wasn't a question. Another question.
I have one coming up the aisle here. House right.
Okay?
I've been coming here since like 2009, so thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I loved it. Didn't realize it was your voice. That was incredible. I love the attention you paid also to including a young woman and showing that transition of, not a transition, but just inclusive nature of I think how Roger and Chaz have been all these years in their lives. My question though is, I wanted a little more Chaz in this, not knowing the scope of this. So when's the next documentary about Chaz?
There might be something that we made just for Chaz here, so stay tuned.
What?
Yes. I don't know if that's supposed to be a secret, but sorry. Sorry, Matt. The question came up, I had to answer it, but thank you. No, I mean, look, I think Chaz, I'm going to try to say this without getting emotional, but Chaz has been a very dear friend to me for this entire time that I've done this. And I just think that she's one of the greatest people who ever lived. She could fill, agreed. Trust me, the Chaz documentary is definitely coming because it would be a powerful one, especially with what she's doing with FEC and all these other things. I mean, she is just taken up the mantle of what Roger did, but even I think stronger to a certain degree of just making sure that people understand that we have the ability to be kinder, better people. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Agreed. And I will say one thing about, just to answer your first question. So, thank you for the mention about the student. I want to mention that the person who played that is Michelle Hussein, who was an actual Ebert Fellow. She's not an actor. She was part of the program. She was part of the Ebert Fellows program. So she is in real life that film student that she was studying under Michael Phillips in the program.
Oh, and speaking of Ebert Fellows, we have Professor Victor Font here, and he has students. The students who made the films that you see before each of the screenings were made by the students of Victor Font. Is Professor Font here? Oh, upstairs. Okay, well, we're going to have you on stage before, I think it's at some point. But I just wanted to mention that we've been loving your student films, so thank you for that.
We have a question over here.
Yes, I have the last question here on house left.
This one's for Chaz. How did you feel during the movie?
Dublin, I was thinking about you during the movie because you have become one of my friends here at the film festival. You are so young, but I know that we both like black leopards. There are many things that we have in common. And when I saw the movie and I knew your dad made it, I said, one day, I bet Dublin's going to be a filmmaker too. So I love the movie, Dublin. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that was a perfect last question for this particular segment. So we'll take a break and come back with Bob Trevino Likes You. Okay. As quickly as possible.